Hey everybody, and welcome to another CollectionDX video review. This is Sentai Seiya, and today we're going to be checking out another toy in the Zyuden Sentai Kyoryuger line. And this is Zyuden Ryu number 3, which is Ankydon. And when I say Zyuden Ryu number 3, this is the third extra mecha in the line that came after the Kyoryujin was released. It's not the actual number of the Zyuden Ryu, which, as you can see on the Beast battery, is number 7. And now, since we're talking about the Beast battery, here it is. This is the front. As you can see, it's got a little sticker on a panel inside of the little window, and you can press the button and flip it to the other side. And this is the dormant side, and then the Kyoryuger go brave in, and they'll flip that switch, and it activates the battery, and then it's ready to be used. And let's not forget, on the back of the battery is the name of the mecha, in this case, Ankydon. And so let's see what Ankydon's battery says. And so now the batteries are also made to interact with the mecha in the line. And so for this, we're going to pop open Ankydon, and then we're going to have to press this button down here, which releases the sliding chamber in the back. And so let's do that. And so sliding the battery all the way in will cause that to happen. The hammer on the back of Ankydon will extend out, and it becomes a tail for the mecha. Now, the Ankydon is based off the Ankylosaurus, and one of the features of this dinosaur is the club tail. Then it's fitting that the tail becomes a club that is also a hammer. Now, the tail is not fully in place. You actually have to click it in, otherwise it'll be loose. And so another signature feature of the Ankylosaurus is that spiny armor that it has on the back. And I have to say, it's really cool on Ankydon. It gives the toy height, and it also gives it depth. As you can see, it's nice to have stuff sticking out of the mecha. With the Kyoryuger line, a lot of the toys are very flat on the side. They usually kind of end here, and it's kind of nice to have something breaking that plane, you know, where everything seems to want to exist here, and Ankydon has extra stuff sticking out, so it makes it look cooler. It gives it depth. It also has a pretty cool face. All the other mechas have kind of a derpy face, but Ankydon has this cool, sharp, literally sharp, because it's got spikes sticking out of them. It's got a cool and sharp face. Now, Ankydon is Kyoryuzin's mecha, which is why it's this lighter blue with kind of a tinge of green color. So technically it's the second blue mecha in the line. And also, at first glance, you would think that this shares the same body as Stegochi and Dracera. It has that chubby dinosaur body, and it does in fact have a similar body, but it's not exactly the same. Actually, all the features here have been remolded. They're a little different. And on the body too, the little mechanical features inside the mecha. Underneath too, there are some subtle differences. The lines are a little different. So the molding is different than Stegochi and Dracera's body, but this is definitely based on those. Underneath, again, we have the hand sticking out in that crotch area, that funny position that they put that in, with the thumb in the middle. So this is done so that the mecha, or the body, can be used for either a left or a right arm. And that worked with Dracera and Stegochi because you didn't have to do different molds of those parts for each of the mechas. And so now let's get this bad boy ready to combine with Dracera and Gabutida to form the Kyoryujin Macho. And so I did mention that this is the same type of body as Dracera and Stegochi, and those had very simple transformations, and so does this one. All you have to do, put the front leg up, back one, same with the other two, and then open up the mouth, pop the battery, and there you go. We are ready to rock. And so first we're going to start out by having Gabutida read the batteries, and then we'll go through the whole transformation process and with the jingles and everything. And so I've mentioned in my other video reviews for this line that the battery that's actually inside of the dinosaur for the combination doesn't really matter. The only thing that really matters is that Gabutida reads the correct battery before inserting the dinosaur on the shoulder connection point. And just to show you guys this, the mecha for Ankydon is going to have Parasagon's battery in it to begin with the transformation. And this way we can also check out the attack sound for Ankydon after we form the Kyoryujin Macho without having to do that whole battery swapping process. And there you have the Kyoryujin Macho. Muki Muki is what the mecha says. And Muki Muki is very muscular, so that makes sense considering that this is the Kyoryujin Macho. And so there you have it, the Kyoryujin Macho combination. And I mentioned with the Western combination that it didn't make sense for the combination to be named that way. But this time around you can see where Bandai was coming from with the naming of the combination. You have the hammer on the right arm and the drill on the left arm. So very powerful weapons. And also you could argue that these are very powerful tools, kind of manly tools, things that you would associate, men using. So it makes sense that the combination this time around is called the Macho combination. At this point though, we've had a couple different combinations, and I think it would have made sense for Bandai to include maybe some separate helmets to be used on each Kyoryujin form. We only have this one that gets used all the time. It would have made sense that maybe with the Western combination you'd have some sort of like a cowboy themed helmet to be used. Same thing for the Macho, some sort of more powerful looking helmet. So that'd be a cool way to swap the helmets out and have an appropriate helmet for each different combination. Would have been a cool extra gimmick for the line, and kind of a neat throwback to O-Ranger, or Power Ranger Zeo as it was called in the States. And so as we already know, Ankydon becomes a hammer for the Kyoryujin, and you can lift it up, move it up and down thanks to the shoulder joint. But it would have been kind of neat if the hammerhead was pointing downwards instead of to the side, because then the attack obviously goes this way. Instead you can get a nice ratchety downward attack motion if the hammerhead was pointing the other way. The one minor nitpick I have with Ankydon is the fact that the mecha is a little bit longer than Parasagon, which, as I mentioned in that review, almost touches the ground. And this being a little longer comes even closer. It's basically like a hair away from touching the ground. And this is with both feet together. If you extend the feet out a little bit more, then the hammer is definitely touching the ground. I guess if you wanted to not scratch the paint, you could always do that and have it loose. Gives it a little bit more clearance. So another nitpick, minor nitpick I should say, that I had with Ankydon is the fact that you have this information on the recess that the hammer goes into. It's all that Bandai copyright information, manufacturing info and whatnot. So it looks a little cheap when you look at it up close. I mean, you can't really see it from afar. It's the same color as everything else, so it blends in. With Dracera and Stagochi, they don't have any copyright info because they came with Gabutida, and he has all the, or it I should say, I don't know if it's really a he, has all the copyright information on the inside of his thigh. With Parasagon and Zactor, they had theirs on the inside thigh also, so it's something that you really wouldn't see too often. But unfortunately, with Ankydon, you can see it if you look close enough. Alright, so that brings us to the last part of the review, and that's going to be the sound that Ankydon's battery elicits from the Kyoryujin. And so as I mentioned earlier, the Ankydon has been dummied up using Parasagon's battery. So accordingly, Parasagon has been holding Ankydon's battery safe just for this part of the review. So let's see what kind of sound we can get from the battery. And so there you have it, Juden Ryu number 3, Ankydon. And so as I mentioned, I like this mecha. It's pretty cool. It has a lot more depth and height than a lot of the other mecha. And it's a neat looking mecha all around. I like it in the show too. It's piloted, or it's the original partner of Kyoryuger, who is a pretty cool character in the show. I like the mecha, but as I mentioned, at this point I'm kind of getting a little fatigued with the sound gimmicks of the line. Sure you have the fact that you can extend the weapons out using the batteries and whatnot, but at this point I kind of would have liked a little bit more from the line. I'll see you guys next time with Terra Gordon, hopefully sometime soon. So this has been Sentai Seiya. Have a nice day, and thanks for watching.